And we're live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sheep Get Sheared podcast. Here we talk about people, politics, and popular culture. I'm your host, Austin Creed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome into the show. So, ladies, this is mainly going to be a show for the men. I mean, obviously, you can practice these things as well if you really want to be, a boss babe or you want to really establish control over your life. But I'm going to let you know right up front. This is mostly going to be from the male perspective and for men because I'm not a woman and I don't understand the female experience when it comes to sexual transmutation and semen retention, which women don't have semen according to, biology. So what we're going to do today is, ladies, if you want to stick around, maybe if you want to share this with your boyfriend, your husband, your brother, whatever you want to do, you're more than welcome to do that. But this is mainly going to be for the men today. Men, welcome. This is going to be one of the most realest videos you're ever going to see in your life. And I'm going to really challenge you today. And by the end of the video today, you're going to decide whether you want to step up or whether you're going to step down. And because if you want to get to the next level, you best believe you better sacrifice. You best believe that if you don't sacrifice, somebody else is going to do it and they're going to leave you in the dust. So we're talking about sexual transmutation today, and we're also going to be talking about semen retention, which goes hand in hand. I don't know how you could have one without the other. You need to have energy to transmute. Now, before we really hop into this topic and I break this down and understand the origins and everything else, throughout the show I'm going to make a lot of assertions and I'm going to make a lot of potentially incendiary comments. And if you want to let your voice be heard, you can find me on Twitter at Austin Creed, or you can find me in the comment section under what platform you're watching on. If you're on audio, you're going to have to go on over and let your voice be heard in either the comment section of YouTube or Rumble, or you're going to have to go to my Twitter at Austin Creed, and that my handle is over there is where you'll find me most of the time because I'm a busy guy, and it's not that I don't care, it's just that I don't always have time to look at every comment. So, my friends, we're going to hop right into this right out the gate, and I'm going to share the screen here in 1 second because I really want to bring up the definition, and I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Because I could talk your ear off for the next hour, but if you don't understand what we're talking about, then it'll have been for nothing. So what we're going to do, I'm going to pull this up. So transmutation comes from alchemy, which is basically ancient science mixed with magic, but it's basically ancient science of what we know now. So in alchemy, here's what transmutation is. Transmutation is the act of changing a substance, whether it be tangible or intangible, from one form or state to another. Now, in layman's terms, what that means is you take one thing and you're converting it into another. You're not destroying it. You're not creating that other thing out of nothing. You're changing, say if you had bronze or you had nickel or whatever, and you wanted it to become gold. That's really what alchemy was used for back in the day, was they wanted to basically have more gold. They wanted to be richer. It was a get-rich-quick scheme in a lot of ways. But the idea is you take one state of a substance, whether it be tangible or intangible, like physical or non-physical, and then you change it into something else. Now, you don't actually lose or gain anything. You need to take 100% of one thing and turn it into 100% of another. That's how that works. Now, so when we talk about sexual transmutation, we're talking about an idea that's been around for a long time, but it was really popularized by Napoleon Hill. Now, if you've read any of his books, Think or Grow Rich, that's a great one. Outwitting the Devil, fantastic book. That's where he really dives into this topic because he asserts that if you took half of your energy that you use towards getting sex, chasing sex, wanting sex, envisioning sex, whatever, you would never be poor a day in your life. I want that to sink in for 1 second. Again, I'll say it again. He's, through his character, the devil, in Outwitting the Devil, he says, if you took half of the energy that you expend on chasing sex, wanting sex, trying to get sex, trying to fight wanting sex, you will never be poor a day in your life. Now you may say, well, that sounds really easy, Austin. All I have to do is just not have sex, right? That's an easy fix. First of all, that's not an easy fix for most people. Most men, that's all we think about for the large part. And if you're thinking to yourself, no, Austin, I don't do any of that. That's not me. Well, then you're in the minority. And you're probably coping to a mild extent. But what we're really going to do today is I want to go over the benefits of semen retention, because in order to fully practice the sexual transmutation, you need to conserve that sexual energy to then have it be utilized as like a lighter fluid, pouring it on your ambition. It's sacrificing the needs of your physical monkey body and using it to fuel your spirit. That's what you're doing. One of the benefits here, there are 4 benefits according to this article, and here's what it says. Number 1, the mental benefits of not ejaculating, or in other words, semen retention. Semen retention proponents cite a myriad of positive mental and emotional outcomes of this practice. In other words, you have this control. When you don't feel like a victim, you don't feel like you're losing control over your own body, that comes with confidence. You get confidence, you get the sense of self-worth that is only found through responsibility. Now, we're going to keep going. You may notice a reduction of stress or anxiety in your daily life. In other words, you don't sweat the small stuff that used to bother you. You say, you know what, who cares about that? Who cares about that monkey business? I'm just going to go and I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to focus on what I can control. And if I can't control it, well, if I can figure out a way to control it, great. If I can't, well, then guess what? I'm going to not worry about it until at which point I can control it. Now, continuing on with this article. It says, perhaps the most obvious is this renewed sense of self-control. Like I just said, you will gain from abstinence. I've seen this in my own life, by the way. There are rare times when I'm like, oh, I have needs, man. I have needs, man. But you need to have a purpose. Now, if you have tons and tons of lighter fluid and you have no fire to pour it on, there's no point in having it. If anything, it's going to be a fire hazard and it's liable to burn your whole life to the ground. So do not do this. If you are lacking purpose, if you don't know what you're doing with your life, if you're just kind of drifting down the lazy river of your life, do not do this. It will backfire on you, and you will be unhappy and potentially even worse. But if you say, hey, Austin, I'm trying to start my own business. Hey, Austin, I'm trying to get through college. Hey, Austin, I'm trying to get through high school. Hey, Austin, I'm trying to really get to the next level of my life. Whatever that looks like for you, then this is perfect for you. Because by controlling that energy you would have given to women, or to just in vain, quite frankly. How many times, I'm going to ask you something. How many times have you set up a date with a woman and she flaked on you? How many times have you set up a date with a woman and you paid for the meal, you entertained the conversation, and then you really didn't get anything but a pat on the head? Oh, you're such a good man. Oh, thank you so much for spending your money and taking me out. You didn't get what you wanted, did you? Because we all know why you're here. In the words of Chris Brown, you know what I came to do. Of course you do. She knows it too. She ain't stupid. Whoever put forward this idea that women are dumb was a freaking moron. They're not stupid. They're more socially savvy than you are. You really think they're clueless about this? No, they're so good, they can pretend to be foolish about it. That's how good they are. They can pretend like they're not experienced when they know everything about it. When I keep going, number 2 was the spiritual benefits. Many men who have practiced semen retention, in other words, they don't masturbate, they don't go fornicate, they don't do any of that, have reported greater overall happiness and satisfaction in their lives. Again, through this self-control and through transmuting this energy into working for them instead of it being expended because you're afraid of it working against you. They claim that taking the focus away from sexual pursuits allowed them to, instead of concentrating on the other facets of their love lives, like communication about sex and blah, 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 blah. While it's nigh impossible to prove the anecdotal evidence that we're listening to, often discussed, okay, then they bring up the no-fap movement, which is kind of like the minor leagues. Semen retention is the big leagues. That's no sex, no masturbation, no fornication, nothing. Nothing. No-fap is just not choking the chicken. That's the first step. This is step 2, step 3. I'm talking about step 3. If you can't even get through step 1, well then you got to deal with step 1 first. That's all. It usually goes from no fap, step 1, semen retention to step 2, and then sexual transmutation to step 3. It's tough. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's because it's hard that's worth doing. Now, here's what I want to do for y'all. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to play a clip on YouTube. There's no actual video, it's just a voice clip, so I'm just going to play it through the microphone. But what I want you to do is I want you to listen. This is Napoleon Hill talking, by the way. He wrote Think and Grow Rich. He wrote Outwitting the Devil. He wrote these books about this. He was one of the champions of this movement, this idea, this philosophy, for lack of a better term, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this clip, and I'm going to react to it live, and I want you to hear what you got to say on it. Here we go.
Well, don't you think you could transmute that emotion over to something else, putting it back of your business or your profession or your job, and have just as much emotional feeling about attaining success in your job as you could about selling yourself to the one of your choice? Don't you think you could do that? You know what that word transmute means, by the way?
Tell him.
Do you? What does it mean?
All the mumbling.
Fine, marvelous. Have you ever tried it on anything or anybody? Marvelous. If you haven't tried it, start trying it. Next time you feel moody or discouraged, try to change that over into an emotion of courage and faith. You see what a marvelous thing happens to you. It changes the whole chemistry of your whole brain and your whole body. And you'll be much more effective. Breaks the great emotion of sex, gets more people into trouble than all the other emotions combined.
Wow.
And yet it's the most creative, the most profound, and the most divine of all of the emotions. It's not the emotion that gets people in trouble. It's their lack of controlling it and directing it, transmuting it.
Wow.
Which they would be readily able to do if they had self-discipline. So it is with other faculties of the body and the mind. It's not that you have to change completely. It's just that you have to be the master. You have to be in control. You have to recognize the things that you must do in order to have sound health and peace of mind. It also means the development of daily habits by which the mind is kept busy in connection with the things and the circumstances that one desires and off the circumstances one does not desire. It means that you will not accept or submit to the influence of any circumstance or thing you do not desire. Nothing at all. Don't submit.
What do you think of that? It's an old clip. You can tell by the audio. It's a very old clip. It's very, very old. But that was Napoleon Hill himself talking about this concept of sexual transmutation. Again, his whole thing is you are the master. You have it work for you. Because if it's not working for you, it's working against you. And you see that even amongst the most rich and successful people in the world. Stop me if you've heard this story before. Rich, successful guy, he worked really hard, maybe he got a little lucky, and then bada bing, bada boom, before you know it, the secretary comes out and says he was schnupping her on the side. Yeah, you heard that one before? Or maybe it's, he had an affair with some other woman, right? Some skeezer, on the side. Or some prostitute, or whatever. He cheated on his wife. He did something related to the wife. Or, you see that? Stop me if you've heard that one before. I know I have. I've heard it before. It all comes down to the lack of pipe control, the lack of mastery over your own mind and body. That's what it comes down to. They're not able to stay focused. They're not able to be disciplined. They don't have the discipline required. You need to be able to transmute this energy, because if you ignore it, it's going to work against you. It's like having a giant monster in your closet. I'll give you an analogy. You remember when you were a kid, and maybe you thought there was a monster in your closet, right? And you couldn't go to sleep because you were so afraid there was a monster in your closet? Well, imagine that monster was in your closet, and not only were you not scared of him, but you then put him to work guarding your door from other monsters who might show up. It's a crude analogy, but think about that. That's what you're doing with your own life. You're saying this one thing that was meant to work for me because I was supposed to be married younger, most likely, but we don't live in a society where that's feasible anymore. So what do you do instead? Well, you put it to work for you. Instead of saying, you know what, I was gonna take this girl out, maybe skip off of work, or maybe I was gonna just spend some money or spend some of my time, which is more valuable than money, by the way. And then you're going to instead say, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go back to work. I'm going to start my side hustle. I'm going to get down to business to prevent myself from being distracted. You'll find you're not as tired anymore. You ever, let me ask you something. You men listening to the Sheep Get Shear podcast today. Let me ask you something. How many times, and you don't have to admit it to me, I already know what's happening, but I want you to admit it to yourself that it's happening. How many times in the past have you, maybe you felt a little lonely, maybe you were bored, maybe you were horny, whatever. It's nighttime, before you go to sleep, you rub one out, and then you wake up in the morning and you got the extra crust in your eyes. You're like, I'm so tired. What? It's already 6 a.m. What? Oh no, I'm so tired. I don't want to go back to sleep. Ugh. You ever heard that one before? I know I have. I know I've been there. And don't you dare try to lie to me and say, "Oh, not me, Austin. I never done that." In fact, I get all the chicks, and you know what? I don't never have any of that problem. Yeah, get out of here with your garbage. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. No. I'm not buying that garbage. You don't have to admit it to me. You got to admit it to yourself and say that you lost part of your control. Part of it is you don't know where to give that energy, so you think, oh, I got to give it to a woman, or I got to just get rid of it. I just got to get rid of it. No. If it's going to work against you, that's not a bad option. But what I'm challenging you to do is stop simply saying, oh, I'm just going to avoid it. I'm going to get rid of it. No. Put it to work for you. Because your results will match that. Like I said, though, if you don't have any purpose, you don't know what you're doing with your life, this is going to work against you. But if you decide, hey, I want to start a business. Hey, I want to make more money. Hey, I want to get my perfect dream body. Hey, I want to do this. Hey, I want to do that. You will then see results. Because then guess what? You have decided, hey, I want X or Y or Z result. And in order to get that, I got to use every asset at my disposal to get there. You will find that your dreams will begin to come true because you will not accept anything else. Like what Napoleon Hill said. You will not accept anything less than what you actually want when you start to master your own body, your own mind, your own spirit, your own everything. And then guess what? People will take notice of this because then you will stand out. Most people don't know what they're doing with their life at all. Most people are lost. Most people are all beating a meat. Most people are all being all bummy and smoking and staying up late and playing video games all day and doing all kinds of dumb crap. Meanwhile, you're in the gym. Meanwhile, you starting your side hustle. Meanwhile, you picking up that extra shift at work. And not just one day out the week. I'm talking maybe 2 or 3 times a week. You start out slow. And before you know it, you will force the results to come because, like I said, energy is neither created nor destroyed. So something has to come from the fruit of your labor. And in fact, if you're not doing anything right now, that fruit is already coming because you're doing nothing, and so you're getting nothing. Versus if you put in everything, you gotta get something back. Might not be everything you ever wanted, but you'll get there if you refuse to accept the bare minimum and you keep putting in that work. Before long, your dividends that you put towards will start paying you back more and more and more, and that's exactly what you need. That's exactly what you want. And guess what? You will see those results if you put in the work, if you sacrifice, if you stop accepting what you don't actually want, and you start actually getting what you want, because you'll accept nothing else but that. Sounds great, doesn't it? But it's going to be a lot harder to get there if you're working against yourself, which is what you're doing right now with your sexual energy. It's fighting against you. It's taking time away from your side hustle. It's taking time away from your family. It's taking time away from your goals. Because right now, you're like, oh, I gotta get a nut. I gotta get me a one night stand. I gotta get me a girlfriend. I gotta get me some nice squashy going on. No. I gotta go choke the chicken out here. I can't be, you see what I'm saying? It's not acceptable. If you want to truly succeed, you need to be the master over every facet within your control. Now, It will not be easy. Do not take my humor as, oh, this is going to be easy money. I got this, coach. No, you got to want it. And there's going to be moments when you're like, oh, I just want to do it so bad. Oh, maybe if I cheat just this once, it's like a cheat meal on a diet. You're like, oh, one cheat meal ain't going to hurt me. I'm good. I lost 10 pounds in the last couple months. I'm good. Before you know it, that cheat meal turns in from once a week to twice a week to 3 times a week till every single day. Same thing with your sexual energy and releasing it. You think it's just me one time. Then you're going to be like, oh, that felt nice. Oh, I need to go back and do it again. Oh, I got to do it again. Oh, I got to do it again. And before you know it, out of practice, you're weak. You are weak at that point. You're weak. You failed yourself. Now, if you do fail, get back on the wagon. Don't just be like, oh, I'm not good enough and let the wagon just keep going and you ain't chasing it. No, my friend. That's what losers do. Do you want to be a loser? No. Then stop doing that. Everybody's going to fail. Everyone's going to fumble the bag once or twice. But guess what? You got to pick yourself up, dust off, and get back on and keep working. Because if you are not working, someone else is going to take your spot that you wanted. And then you're going to sit there whining and hating on that person for putting in the work that you had the chance to put in but didn't do it. You need to have discipline to transmute. It's not just going to happen on its own. You need to put it towards something. You need to want something. Otherwise, what's the point? You need to have a fire underneath you. You need to want something out of life for God's sakes. Don't just be drifting around couch surfing, being a lazy bum on the lazy river of life. Don't do that. You're better than that. Don't do that. But I can't do it for you. I wish I could, but I can't. You gotta want that. You gotta want to take the Crimson Capsule every day. You gotta want that. Because if you don't want it, guarantee you someone else is gonna do it. They're gonna take your spot, and you're gonna have failed yourself, and you're gonna look in the mirror, and you're not gonna want to blame yourself. And then that's when people start blaming society for their problems, when in fact it's their own fault because they failed themselves. My friends, this is important, if not crucial, for you to get to the next step in life. Your next level of your career, next level of your personal development, next level of you as an individual being better than you were the day before. But if you don't want it, I can't help you. You can keep watching my videos and try to find that motivation, but I can't do it for you. That's on you to decide. That is for you to decide it is what you want. And then decide what you're going to sacrifice to get there. Because make no mistake about it, it's not just going to happen. You got to sacrifice. If you want to play the game, you got to put in the quarter. My friends, if you disagree with anything you heard, you said, or that I said today, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Austin Creed, or leave a comment in the comment section below. If I missed anything or you want to hear more about this, go ahead, make my day. I'm happy to hear it. But until next time, my friends, I'll leave you with this. I'm going to leave you again with a quote I used earlier from Napoleon Hill in Outwitting the Devil. He said, if you took half of the energy that you put towards trying to obtain sexual pleasure, you will never be poor a day in your life. Do not let the man in the mirror sabotage you. Be the master of the man in the mirror. Till next time, my friends, God bless you. God bless your family. God bless the United States of America. We're out of here. Peace.